So if someone's so say the owner's on the payroll and basically he has no owner salary, right? He just everything's buried in the payroll expense. So he's there 7 days a week, and he basically all of his all of his income is in the cash flow. He doesn't account for a W-2. He doesn't account for anything. We got to figure out what the cost is to replace him. So every industry is different. What's the
Yep.
cost to
Same
replace?
page. Okay.
Yeah, what's the cost to replace a pizza owner? I would say right now it's probably tell guys you can jump in here. I would say it's about 100 grand a year, right? That's a pizza. I would say that's a real salary for an owner to take as a W-2 employee. So you got to account for something because if someone that buys this is absentee, they're going to need someone to replace this owner, and that's going to cost a standard salary. Car wash business is different. Good car wash manager, you could pay him 80 grand, and he's the best manager. If you have 5 car washes, you got to pay him a little more. You got to pay him 150 grand to take care of 5 places. So every business is a little different. Does that really answer the question?
Oh,
Does
sorry, I
that
was on
answer?
mute. Yep. Yeah, that perfect. I just wanted to get clarity on that for all of us. I agree with it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. That's a great
fully on board
question.
there.
It's a
Can I
great
ask a
question because
question?
yeah,
So when we calculate the multiplier, the net,
yeah.
do we include an owner's salary or do we not? Like,
You have two versions, right? Like when you're speaking to an owner operator, this is what I do when I sell pizzerias. I've sold a lot of pizzerias in the past. And what I do is I have an owner operator's cash flow, and then I have a cash flow taking the owner operator's typical W-2 out for people that are absentee. But I really try and get the owner the highest price possible. So I try to fluff up that cash flow with the highest salary possible in there. Um, it's like a double-edged sword. I mean, if anyone has any input on what they do currently, that would be great. But
I
I
always,
have, yeah,
I always add the sellers um their salary. Um, I always add their salary, and I've talked to a couple other brokers at different companies. They also add their salaries as well. You'll get some kickback from some buyers, like, oh, well, I got to replace that guy, and oh, well, I'm not going to be there. I got to pay someone 300 grand to run my restaurant. They're just trying to knock down the price and then knock down the valuation. But I always add back the seller salary. But again, you'll get kickback, so just be prepared for that. But the bank, I look at it like this. I'm like the bank. If you were to go to the bank, you go to SBA, they're gonna consider the owner's salary as a cash flow, and that's how they're gonna underwrite the deal. So that's why I add it back.
it's a great point. And,
Yeah.
and a lot of
isn't
So
people,
business, sorry,
sorry.
no,
I
isn't
kind of
business,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, is a business worth more if it's owner absentee as opposed to an owner operated, like
Yeah,
Yeah,
the multiple?
absolutely. Absolutely. Time is money.
Oh yeah, if you can own a business and not have to be there, it's worth much more to you than if you had to be there because it gives you the opportunity to go somewhere else. But I just want to say when I've consulted with other people and I've consulted for people buying businesses before, I've actually been pro at keeping the owner operator salary in there because I told the way I said is, look, he might be taking 120,000 where you can get somebody for 80, but if you want your business to run quality, you're gonna have to give that person 80 and incentivize comp them. So you might as well keep the owner salary of 120 in there. Best case scenario, you perform well and you have to pay that out. Worst case scenario, you're stuck on the for 80. But so I actually agree with the philosophy of keeping the owner salary in there, even if you do have to replace that, because then it's 1 to 1.
Absolutely. It's a great point. And Christian, that's a great point too. I mean, we can get the highest price that way for the seller, and it makes sense. And the buyers that you find are really owner operators, so it makes sense for them as well.
and
If you're
ultimately,
finding,
ultimately, we can say whatever we want, and there's a ton of different buyers out there that'll look at things differently. But ultimately, like someone's going to come in, maybe they don't run it, but maybe they pay someone 100K, and they reduce the cash flow by 100,000, and they make an offer with the seller, and then they negotiate, like, and they find some common ground. So you can add it back, but like people are going to do, every buyer is different. I've had some buyers add like a $200,000 management fee because they need for like a laundromat or something, like, or they're going to pay their management company a certain amount of fee. So everybody's different, but I always add back the owner salary and let the buyer do what they want to do, and then you find some common ground between buyer and seller. That's our job. So
Charlie, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Just a simple question. I want to know if am I audible, please?
Sorry?
Yeah, okay. I have a question. I said, someone outside the US can he buy business in the US even without being a US citizen?
You need an E2 visa. You need a visa to buy a business.
Okay.
There might be a way to structure it if they buy it into a C corp. Then you just have to then they can own the C corp 100%, and they can just get a taxpayer identification number. If they're going to work in the business, they might need the E2 visa. But I have clients from my practice alone that own businesses in the US and they don't even set foot here.
So there's a creative structure around that.
Yeah, there could be a very creative structure, which is great because overseas money there's a lot of overseas money. I mean, that's one of the things I'm doing. I have a lot of overseas potential that I want to try to bring in, but I want to see this through. So there's definitely something there.
All right,
Alright,
back
so
to
we
the
have-
spreadsheet.
So we got rent, lease is rent. There's base rent, so what the business owner pays in rent. Then we have real estate taxes, right? That's separate. And then we have common area maintenance called CAM. So that's snow plowing, that's landscaping, that's a fee that the tenants pay to upkeep the property. So all this together for this pizzeria is about 219,000 a year, which represents about 7.59% of sales, which checks off in my box. Anything under 10% is healthy in the pizzeria business. So this is a fixed cost at 7.59%. Not bad. Not amazing, but not terrible. So base rent. All right. Then we have insurance. There's a few different insurances. We have workers' comp insurance. We have general liability. And this is the total insurance cost. It seems a little light. You can easily check through bills. So let's see, send bills to verify. We have electric, water, gas. These are the utilities. We have computer, internet, and telephone. We have credit card fees. Not a bad rate, 1.73. We have exterminator garbage. Well, this is 1.73 on the whole thing, so it's actually a little lower, which is healthy, very healthy. We have exterminator and garbage. This seems very light. You should verify this. And verify this. We have to verify everything. Then we have repairs and maintenance, and we have other. And this is basically just a I mean, am I missing anything, anyone? On the bottom, I put together deal terms for, this is what I'm going to do for every deal. The acquisition price, the note terms, if it's interest only for a year, which it isn't. The cash flow after note.
I don't know if you got that in there, but like credit card processing fees, POS fees, security.
I got a merchant processing, credit cards. It's going to be more than this though.
Yeah.
POS fees is definitely light. This is light.
You have sales tax in there?
Supplies.
Sales tax.
Tax is at top, man. Do we get full supplies? Boxes, bags.
Boxes, bags. That should be under the paper goods. Should be under total
Yeah, okay.
cost. Advertising. but this guy doesn't advertise.
Maybe pest control. things
Now,
like
do
that.
they usually just have the drivers drive their own vehicles, or do they own the vehicles for delivery?
Yeah. They have the drivers drive their own vehicles.
Okay.
They get like a pizza box to put in their windshield to know they worked there.
So over here is really important. I don't know if everyone does this. So, total acquisition price, cash down, note terms, and then I would do monthly note payment or yearly note payment.